time. Those will be the last words. Thank you both for joining me today. And to wrap up this day, we're going to send up to PGL with Sjokz. Take it away.
Ooh, fancy new tune and everything. Welcome to the very first post-game lobby of the Spring Split. My name is Sjokz and I'm joined by Quickshot, as well as the founder of Origen and, of course, the general manager for Origen, Deficio. Welcome, gentlemen.
I'll take the founder, too.
Yeah, you will?
Well, I got both right there. You never said Pekka's name.
That's true.
I did. I said Pikke.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe we just interrupted.
You're trying to start something. Deficio, well, now that I have your attention, seeing how this didn't really count, when does Origen actually play?
Tomorrow. No, come on.
No. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. We're old colleagues, you know, we gotta, of course. But yeah, tell me about this. This is obviously not an easy first game to play. So maybe Deficio first and then Xpece, tell me, you know, how it was just playing your very first game, getting your players ready. Of course, you know, how it ended up isn't that great, but what was the experience so far coming to the studio and playing for the first time?
I mean, first of all, it's very strange to be on the other side. There's a lot of things you got to get used to when you're just sitting there watching the game with the players and kind of trying mentally getting ready for the game you're about to play. But I think, I mean, all our players are pros. You know, we have a ton of veterans on the side as well. They've done this time and time again. So it makes it easier because they know exactly what they actually need to do to be ready to play. Mm-hmm. And Andre and Fabian as well have complete control over the guys here on game days. So I think the preparation was pretty smooth and was perfectly fine. Just a weird feeling still to sit over here and not actually stand and yell in a microphone.
Yeah, and I mean, for you, it's probably the same because you haven't even been here in so long. And now you are back with Origen, which is, of course, your team. So what has it been like just going through this first stage?
Yeah, it's been almost 2 years, I think, since I was here. And I mean, it's super exciting to go back, see the crowd. Everything changed, which looks super nice right now. And I love it. And I mean, I was excited to watch this first game. I knew it was going to be super hard. And we came thinking, yeah, it's probably going to be the worst weekend of the whole split, the hardest weekend. But I'm still super happy. Like, we were listening to the comms. The guys were playing to their practice. Like he said, they've been preparing with Andre and Fabian to this. And I was really happy. I think if it wasn't G2, if it was some other team that made more mistakes or didn't make us make one, it was one mistake pretty much that costed us the game. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm really happy, and I think we will get more wins.
Yeah, positive look for. It is a hard weekend to start for you guys. You also had something to say about.
Yeah.
No problem.
This is what you get for breaking up with me.
I knew it was you.
I do have to say, in the hype video, you said like, yeah, you were almost like salty, like G2. Oh, they have all these good players, and then they also get caps, and then of course they also play with this draft. What was the reaction when you saw that came out, and is that why this was such a hard game?
Well. The thing about this kind of draft is, obviously the first parts of the games are not super difficult. When it's like Karthus jungle, he just kind of farms, doesn't do too much. We knew we were going to win bot lane as well with the Draven Morgana pick. But the thing you kind of need to be scared of, and the reason the game kind of snowballs so fast, is once you fall behind against like triple poke into instant Rakan engage. I'm almost crying here because we lost. And Karthus ulti, like you can die so quickly if you are behind. So I think if you look at the first 15 minutes, you saw a very even game. It could go both ways. You know, one kill here, one kill there. But the moment the poke comp gets ahead like this, very, very, very nasty comp then to play against, and it just does this, and you can just lose really quickly. So I told Pekka as well, like, I didn't actually care if we lost, like if we lost this game in 25 minutes or 45 minutes, because that kind of draft, if you do fall behind and they played well, which they did, they will just always get a bunch of kills and then end the game very, very fast.
It's like go next. What did you make of the big perks 80 carry reveal on
Great 80 carry.
It's interesting to see, of course, the Jace Zoe, but the thing that was fun and interesting to me is that the Karthus jungle was the first time we saw it all day. If you look at the picks and bans that we saw throughout every single game, there's so many different ways that you can play this game. And when you think of what Caps can do in the mid lane, what Perks is going to be able to do in that bottom lane, and the fact that he can play mages or potentially add in additional 80 carries to the mix, I'm very excited about this meta as a whole. It makes these two lives and jobs really difficult. Because not only do you have to figure out...
Those two guys.
I'm trying to bring in both of you as smarter this game. But you know what I mean? Like, when you compare every single game and every single draft, it's really, really difficult to anticipate what direction people are going to go. And then you've got teams like Vitality that throw Attila on Victor. I was surprised to see that. I like Attila on AD carries, but I'm happy to see Vitality playing mages in the bottom lane. I'm happy to see Zoe. It just adds variety and excitement to the league, and it makes it more entertaining for us to cast and to watch.
It's a little bit like Summer Split start, where now it's up to every team to figure out which style works for them, and they need to figure it out fairly quickly. And then once you have your style, you need to learn, is this actually a style that can win in this meta?
Yeah.
So you might be forced to change it after. I mean, obviously last summer we had the only 80 carries from Misfits versus only mages from like Fnatic. And now it is, as you said, it's very up in the air. Which makes it, again, really difficult also when you're kind of judging drafts. Like, is this a good draft? Is this a bad draft? Because there's so many things you need to consider. In this case here, again, I felt like we had a really good setup on our side. And if we get a bunch of early kills on the Draven in the bot lane, we start getting the first turret instead. And then the snowball goes to us.
I saw that happen. It wasn't Origen, though. It was Misfits that showed
it did
how a Draven...
But it was so close in our game. There were like 3 times that he was like 1 axe away of getting a kill. Like the first blood went to Myth instead of him. The first time, the second time as well, he couldn't get the kill. Imagine if he went out of the lane, like 3-0, it could have been a completely different game as well. Like a Misfit game, you know?
No, it's 100% true.
Hilarious. We also, in the cast room, you know this, we have like all the monitors. We have a camera on you guys constantly. I have to say, it was so cool and so endearing. You two were so close to the screen and so nervous, almost like probably dads looking over, you know, the team that is on the playing field.
It's important to note that while Deficio is on one side and FLICKR on the other,
don't get jealous.
Andre's sitting in the middle. Listen, I'm so jelly right now. You have no idea. You're a home wrecker.
You wanted to sit.
You're a home wrecker.
I'm sure you are requested to sit here.
I actually specifically said I want you in the middle because I can't. But while the two of them are watching the game, Andre's just sitting there yammering away, chatting, feedback, input, information. So it's interesting. It's an exciting start to the league. And the only team that allowed a former Worlds representative to win was Origen. Of course,
we did it for the league. We did it to show that
Vitality, with Vitality and Fnatic going down, I was on the hype train. I wanted Origen to win not only because...
Did you vote for them?
I did indeed. Myself, Law, and StatsBot.
StatsBot.
And we have been let down.
StatsBot.
Pickett, do you know that there's a tattoo on the line?
A tattoo?
Have you heard about the tattoo bet, by the way?
No, I haven't.
I'm going to fill you in.
Why didn't you tell me anything of this?
On
You're not getting a tattoo.
Not for you guys.
You're getting a tattoo.
It's between me and FLICKR, but your organization is one of the things that's involved. FLICKR and I bet on Euphoria that if Origen win the league, win LEC in spring, FLICKR will get a tattoo.
Playoffs or end of first?
End first, for the whole thing, all of spring. And you have to win finals.
Why are you laughing?
And if G2 win the split, I have to get a tattoo.
Of what?
So she's going to get a king, and currently it might say Origen or LEC were defining the word.
Oh, if there's Origen and king, that would be sick.
If G2 win, I have to get a frog because her nickname is Icelandic for frog. So seriously, I put a lot of faith in that man.
I also, she got the bad end of the bargain. She has to like tattoo a team name, and you just, a frog could be really cool.
It could be. I'm
probably Origen logo's cool as well.
It is, but I'm going
with biased forever.
Great logo.
Yeah, Great logo. That's crazy. Well, shenanigans. We'll have some more time for fun in just a bit, but I also want to take a look at the standings. The other teams played today as well, and there were a fair bit of upsets. SK Gaming, they won twice versus Fnatic at the beginning of the day. Schalke 04 beat Vitality. Misfits and G2 won, of course, as well as Splyce. So, you know, how do you guys look back on what happened today, and what's the most surprising result? Peke, maybe.
I mean, probably Fnatic. I expected them to win one of the games at least. Like after the first one, I was like, maybe they got caught off guard, but the second game, it showed that they were maybe not as good as I expected, or SK was better than I expected. Yeah. It was a bit of both.
Yeah, SK were really good.
They were pretty good.
That's true. Put up one hell of a performance.
I mean, he's great. Yeah. He's a really good player. And he's obviously another one of those young European talented players that will enter the LEC and probably surprise people who didn't watch him in Mad Lions.
Another impressive Polish jungler as well.
Yep. A lot of them.
Poland keeps dishing out just top-tier junglers.
I think on Euphoria, the episode we did for this week, we talked quite a bit about Schalke and SK probably surprising people in terms of the level they could bring, like being a bit underrated. I like the Schalke roster a lot. I think actually for a team who lost 4 players and a coach, they managed to rebuild super, super well. And SK keeping the 3 Mad Lions guys together. And then Pyrian, who actually showed up big time today as well, can prove to be a really deadly combo. And it's scary in the way that I feel like there are so many teams. I know it's only day 1, but there are so many teams where the rosters are actually like really, really good.
Yeah.
And if I compare them to like last year, Spring Split, where we had the league where everyone just beat each other and we didn't know who was going to make playoffs.
Yeah.
I feel like the rosters now, especially in the middle, are stronger than the ones from that Spring Split. So it's super, super competitive. We will take a 17-1 score. That's also enough for us.
So we don't get kicked out, right?
we don't need to worry about the middle of the table.
That's true. That's true.
I love the confidence. I mean, I was really happy to see Upset playing very, very confidently, and I was also happy to see Misfits showing up today. Yeah. I was nervous to see what level of play this team would have. I think super teams generally, maybe even worldwide, struggle more than they succeed. You know, there's too many things to balance, too many play styles to figure out.
We lost 1 game, calm down.
Now, admittedly, Misfits, you know, step up and Misfits had a very strong game against one of the arguably weaker rosters in the league. So I want to see what they can do against, you know, tougher opponents. But like Hans Summer, he just popped off, and Maxwell seemed to make some good decisions early on in the game, which allowed them to run away with it.
Yeah, I mean, Hansama is the guy who's still on that roster, and even if all the rest didn't work, he worked on Draven. He did the work, of course, with Gorilla. It looked good. They're playing SK Gaming tomorrow, as far as I know, so that's going to be a fantastic game as well.
Good game.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. I think all of them. Also, you guys are playing Fnatic, of course.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk about that in a second. If you look at everything, you know, you guys were, of course, building your roster, and you guys have come out to say, well, the players we have are actually the players we wanted, and this is, you know, we like the roster that we've put together. Who did you look at as the teams that won the off-season or that made the best moves in the off-season?
I mean, I think if you split it up into teams who stayed in the LEC, who already had rosters, and then new teams who joined with 0 players or lost almost every player, I think if you look at the ones who stayed, I mean, G2 Esports, you get Caps and Mickey. Yeah. It's hard not to win the off-season in that sense. And if I look at completely new rosters or where you lost almost everything, like I obviously consider us one of the winners. And then I think either Sjokz or SK, when it comes to the guys who lost almost everyone or a completely new team.
Why not Misfits? When you think of the, you know, Pumandu, Gorilla...
That's a good point, actually. I didn't really think
so where would they rank, right? Because now, that's not winning, that's a complete overhaul.
Yeah,
so
I would say Misfits was probably the craziest. The first time I saw it, I was like, damn, they got everyone, you know?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll work?
I don't think it will be, it will have the super team effect, I think. I don't think they will be as good, but they will be pretty good.
What's the super team effect?
That they will lose every game, like he was saying before.
It'll
like
fail.
And I guess if you compare also to last year's rosters, then you can argue, is Schalke now stronger than the one last year? Probably not. So I guess in that case, you didn't win the off-season, even though you were stuck in a tough situation.
But from rebuilding from nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You were forced to rebuild from nothing, right? But obviously, I mean, with the players Misfits get, if they click, yeah, sure, you might just have put together like an insane roster that can maybe compete with Origen.
Yeah, I mean, delving a bit deeper into Origen, interesting roster, I should say. Patrick, of course, Sheriff before. He was the guy that, you know, we all had the feeling that he's a great player that didn't really get the chance to shine on the roster he was on. How is his potential from what you've seen? What do you expect from this guy?
I think personally he's gonna do really good. I mean, today he was playing super well in lane and everything. It was just the team we were playing against didn't allow Draven to do much because he couldn't even hit in team fights more than once.
Yeah.
But I think he's gonna show up, and I think in Origen, right now he's being more confident. When you watch him play, he's more calm. He doesn't get nervous, and I think for a semi-rookie, I think that's really good to have because he can only get better from there.
Who's the main guy on your roster? Who is or the captain or the guy you're expecting the most from, or is that not something you think about because you're just developing right now?
I mean, obviously, you don't pick a favorite child, you know, instantly.
Instantly, implying you pick
later you pick a favorite child.
You pick like whoever.
Favorite.
I think different roles, obviously. Cold was one of the players we knew from the get-go we really wanted to get early on because for us, One, what he brings as a player individually, especially what he showed last year, where he started playing more carries, we felt like was at a very high level. But he's a leader type without being the guy who necessarily like stands up in the room and tells everyone to sit down. Just the way he is, like he's the most.
He has a good personality.
He's the most like mature, mature like pro gamer in a lot of way. Yeah, but like he knows what he wants. He cares a lot about a lot of things like Astralis players cares about, like Refresh cares about, and now Origen with things outside the game are actually important. How you eat, how you behave, how you talk to each other. Super, super key for how you build a good team. And he brings all these things. So it's very easy when you have a guy like him to say, okay, this is a great type to have in the jungle, because he's also super, super vocal. Like today, the first 15 minutes, just like constantly, and that's exactly what you want from someone like him. So I think when it comes to like culture-wise, he's a perfect fit.
So trust Deficio to pick the Danish player.
And to keep...
there's one of the big narratives, of course, Mythy coming back, struggled in NA, and a lot of expectation which Mythy's going to show up and which variation, the original OG Mythy or the TSM Mythy. So tell us a little bit about like his mentality, how hungry he is, and where you think he's going to end up by the end of the split.
I mean, I know him from the past, and I know how he is when he's motivated. He's a hungry person, right? He always wants to win. He wants to get the most out of the team and out of himself. And I think right now how the team is working, I think he is really motivated, and he's just gonna get more motivated to prove everyone wrong, because I feel like he's getting everything he wanted out of an org right now. And I think it's gonna be OG Mythy sooner or later, because he's putting in the hours as well.
That sounds fantastic.
It also became a no-brainer to pick him up when we found out he actually was available. It's rare. I've witnessed a veteran player who's played since 2013 now call you up like 7 times, doesn't matter what time it is, just to talk about how he wants to be on this roster. He just wants to prove everyone wrong, show how good he can actually be. And when you just hear that from someone who's played for so many years and you know how good he was, before, it becomes really, really easy, because we also know that Mythy brings a ton of things outside of the game as obviously a veteran and a shot caller.
Yeah, absolutely. So Joy, I mean, even though the game wasn't won, I think it was a positive game from him. His first game, definitely so. So we'll only.
We don't panic after one game.
I would say, by the way, I think with the exception of Misfits Rogue, I think the other 4 games were a lot more competitive than even I was somewhat expecting. We saw a lot of good things from a lot of teams and players today. And even if you just take the upsets off the table, there was only 1 blowout.
Yeah.
And for week 1 spring, that's an encouraging sign, an exciting sign. And hopefully these teams can continue to play well throughout the split.
I completely agree. In a second, we're going to look at the schedule. But first, let's talk about some other things that aren't necessarily pertinent to the game, yet important. So, Deficio, you only get 1 chance for this, and it's a long time coming. Why did you break up with Quickshot for Peke?
Especially, you never did it to my face either. You didn't even call, not even a text.
You can barely look at you, mate. I'm used to this now, so...
I mean, it's just an improvement in every way, pretty much.
Well, I don't even say anything. Literally, like, the camera is on the 2 guys.
You don't have to say anything? That's the first.
Peke got it.
Even I rock the white hair better.
Actually, I will say when I saw that, I knew I made the right choice. I was like, wait a minute, nope.
This wasn't meant to turn into a bashing Trevor segment. You were supposed to be,
the love
nice
is gone,
things to Trevor.
The love is gone. And you know
Soon
what?
the hair will be gone too, hopefully.
I just wished he could have called me.
No, it's way easier to let Riot announce that we made it in.
You ghosted Trevor
and I didn't have to say anything.
He ghosted me so hard, I dyed my hair.
And now you look like
I didn't answer him. I didn't answer him for like a month as well.
Yep, that's it.
Now tables have turned for some reason. You don't answer me.
Yeah, I mean, how are we going to put this back on something positive? This is difficult. This went a whole different way.
I mean, talk about me and Peke. That's great.
All right, okay. Can you
look to the future.
actually, on a bit more, I mean, not serious.
That was good, actually. That was good.
Peke, can you say something about what it's been like to work with Deficio, and then he can say the same thing about you?
Yeah, at first...
Doesn't have to be dirty, don't worry.
wait.
I mean, it can be.
No. At first, he was really respectful. I was a bit scared because he came all suit up, with those flowers in the shirt. And I mean...
First, dressed better when he was with me.
Yeah, maybe. But no, I mean, I liked it the first day I met him. at first it was, like, we know each other for a long time, but we never really got to know each other that much. So I think we're still first step of the relationship, pretty much. Like getting to know each other, getting more confident, making dirty jokes. all that kind of stuff. I mean, it hasn't happened that often, as you guys might think. Only a couple of times, I think he has.
I don't say anything.
That's
so
great.
far.
All right, so Deficio.
But he's been really fun, and he's a great guy.
You could have mentioned all the great work we're doing.
Yeah.
But,
You can do that, Deficio.
Oh, we're talking about the works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep it snappy.
Keep it snappy. I mean, I knew obviously what kind of relationship we would have from before, when I felt like we were pretty close, but fair enough. Maybe we were not.
You should tell, he has slept in my house once.
I borrowed his apartment in Spain as well. Anyway, I think with FLICKR, you know,
I find out.
you get a person who is obviously gonna, like, whenever he walks into a room, everyone starts smiling because you just have like a really cheerful, charming person that makes it really easy. Especially if someone is down a little bit and it's been a rough day or something. FLICKR is the kind of guy who brings everything back up. So I think that's been super valuable. Mascot, I wouldn't say. I would call him the founder of Origen. And that's way better than mascot.
No, I was kidding, of course. That's lovely,
He's great to work with.
Both very lovely sentiments. And now you have to say something nice about Trevor, because I haven't forgot how mean you've been.
I think your casting was better than VODs today.
All right, there we go. All right, enough banter.
I'll take it.
Let's take. Oh, did you want to?
Yeah, I just have one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sjokz, I don't know if it's appropriate or not, but do you happen to know when does Origen play?
When does Origen play?
She asked already.
No, but when does Origen play?
When does Origen play?
I'm not.
Tomorrow.
When? But when?
Last game.
Last game?
Game 5.
FLICKR, when does Origen play?
Yeah, tomorrow.
I've just never been able to do this with
Wait, it's not
This is
tomorrow.
so cool.
It's actually today. It's like 1 a.m.
Tomorrow.
It is actually pretty late.
It is. It's today.
Yeah.
When does Origen
today.
play? They play today.
Yay! Last game of the day tomorrow versus Fnatic. Ooh.
Yeah, don't move out of the stream. We'll be back soon.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just gonna sleep here actually in these chairs.
Well, let's see. Let's see.
Also
Who are we
important,
beating
guys.
tomorrow?
We're gonna be starting at 5
Fnatic
p.m.
guys.
tomorrow. Today we started at 6. Actually, we'll be starting at 4:30 with Ready Check. And it's gonna start with G2 versus Schalke.
That's a banger.
Quick prediction round. G2 Schalke.
Yeah.
Schalke.
G2.
G2.
XL Rogue.
XL.
Oof, I don't know.
Tie.
That's a tie.
Excel.
That's a
tie for me.
Splice Vitality.
Splice.
Oh, Vitality.
Splice.
Yeah.
Misfits SK.
SK.
Ooh,
I'm gonna go Misfits.
Misfits
Yeah,
and
just to
Origin
be troublemaker.
Fnatic.
Origin.
I mean,
Origin.
come on.
Origin. Clear.
Origin.
Hey, you're going
winners.
Origin tomorrow?
Listen, I'm probably gonna vote for you every game, just
There we
because
go.
I'm gonna try to win your love back.
Fnatic is a wounded animal right now, you know? They didn't win today.
So
They
are
had
we.
to
We
be
lost
for-
already.
But nobody expected you to win, so like it's strange. So sorry.
I
just
voted
stats
for
wise.
Origin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
me
know
too.
what? Maybe I'll change my vote to Origin too for tomorrow. Why
We'll
not?
check. I haven't logged my votes yet. So
I
I'll have to
think
figure it out
if more than half of the people vote for Origin,
Who will win?
we're guaranteed to win.
Yeah. Give a like for Orion to win tomorrow.
Yeah, go follow them on Twitter.
I'm also going to find out how well StatSpot does. StatSpot was only a couple points behind Deficio, who did win the Superior Analyst, but it's AI. It's smarter than you are. So,
But you mean last year? Or what?
Yeah,
last year,
last
last
year. Oh,
summer.
really?
StatBot's placed third.
Wow.
So yeah, it was you, Vedius, StatSpot. And our stats team have put together this AI algorithm specifically to take down the ego that is Deficio.
So the
is
algorithm said we were going to win today.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
did.
So that's
But
the
that's
first
based on
prediction
blue
of the
side.
year.
Someone told me it's
So
based on
we're
blue
winning.
side.
It
Side
improves.
prediction. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
So
okay,
it
okay.
automatically picked whoever had side selection today because there's no data to go on.
Oh, okay.
And then he'll just
Oh.
pick
That
makes
the
sense.
highest ranked.
I thought they were
team
running
from now
numbers
on.
from last year or something, being like those players put together.
it's not. It's not that we're not going to spend that much time.
Okay.
All right. So, before we go, if there's one thing you want to take away from this first LEC split with Origin, what would it be?
A lot of wins.
Well,
No.
a lot of wins
No,
in the playoffs.
In the playoffs.
Yeah. So is it playoffs already? Is that the goal?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
making playoffs, yeah.
Minimal.
I think main thing I want to take away is just I want this whole new setup and surroundings we have around our team to succeed.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing for me in spring. Actually, no matter where we end, living in Copenhagen, traveling into Berlin, working with the non-gaming staff we have, working together with Astralis. Like I want all those things to actually click and be really successful, so we can see a big difference, and then we know the more we do this, the better it's going to get. Like that's the number one thing for me in spring.
Fantastic.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, pretty much the same. Having the players at the end of the split be happy, you know, and actually share it with us, with the team, regardless of the result or anything. Just be like, it was a great split. We want to look forward and do better.
Plus a lot of wins in playoffs.
Plus a lot of wins.
A ton of wins in playoffs.
I mean, you just need a couple to win the whole thing.
At least 5
What do you think of the new playoff format, by the way?
Love it. I gave some feedback on it as well a couple of months ago, and the only thing I was scared of was the whole, like, if 1 and 2, when they play each other the first time, if that's like a 3-0 stomp, you're kind of like, oh, you know, when you go into the actual final. But I think everything else all the way up, super hype.
Yeah, I really hope that we're going to be, you know, a bit lucky as well, that those are now good. But I think no matter what, it's a lovely system. If you guys haven't heard, there is a new playoff system here in the LEC. You can find the info online. Esports tweeted it. It's on eu.allesports.com as well.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, we're wrapping up for the day, but just a shout out to everybody that's stuck with us. It has been a bit of a bumpy one.
Yes.
So apologies for that. We are working on it and really excited to be back tomorrow.
Definitely. I mean, all the rest here is awesome. We had some bumps on the road, but tomorrow we're going to give you a very, very good show once again. And for this year, we've also created a new channel on YouTube for the VODs, youtube.com/LOLesportsVODs, where you can find all the games from the LEC, the LPL, the LCK, the LCS. And so it's easier for you guys to find that if you missed anything. Now, coming up next here
what is that?
is the LCS Academy. And after that, you will also be able to catch the rebroadcast of our show. And after that, it's going to be 5 p.m. and you can watch the new show. So that's going to be
It's actually true. Never stop watching LEC.
Never stop watching. So that's going to be it from us here for our first day of the LEC. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peke and Deficio, thank you so much for joining me. A pleasure as always.
We'll see you tomorrow when we talk about the great win.
Yes, there we go. Then you can join us again. So you guys at home, meet us tomorrow for more League of Legends. Until then, have a great night.
We will be welcoming in the 2019 League of Legends European Championship with one motto and one thing to say. We are EU, and we are here to be feared. Brox has caught himself onto that Siege minion, but he decides not to follow through with the resonating strike. That's a stun on the Reckless! The dive forward! Self-made and a true shot barrage from Crown Shot! Kill Reckless! Wow. Nexus turret number 2 is down! The Nexus is being focused! SK Gaming are moments away from taking down Fnatic!
Cersei comes in, straight into the bowler, Cage will get demolished, and all of XL get deleted. 2 down already, and Xpece just keep rolling that train forward. But eventually, Xpece will fall. Triple kill for Kobe to round it out, and what better way to do it than with the franchise man? Xpece will pick up their first win in the LEC. Memento will go down into the chair, and jump into the backline though. Ignat pulls Upset all the way in. Jizuke down, now Upset can just open up hell. Mystic shot after Mystic shot lands. Sjokz bit off everything they could chew. What a great fight from them. They will take the win, and they will stamp their mark on the LEC.
Nice.
Go!
Axel trying to make his way to safety, gets the kickback, gets multiple members, grills the chain CC. It's clean, it's pretty, it's what you want to see, and Ansama here to clean them up. One of a kind. Sleepy Trouble Wolves and Bindings, that's what you got to look out for. Watch for the skill shots to connect Patrick. This man has a Hex Drinker. The ulti's coming out too, the Black Shield's gone, and so is Patrick.
So he pushes R, so then you push R, huh?
They told me to
Is he dead?
No, they don't need to push R here, Mythy. Dead.
Oh, no.
He's gone. The engage now coming in as well. The ultimate has now come out. How far will Noob Duck make it? Trying to run. They're buying time. They're trying to burn him down so the Urdok can bring him back. Is Drowsy. Not going to happen. Still asleep. Caps looking for the shot. Perk's not going to find it. Yes, there it is. Rakan flying over the wall to back up Caps.
Nice!
G2 super team making it look so easy as they tear their way to the Origen lineup. Mythy forced to stand in that fountain, but it's not enough to save them.